YPB offers a great solution to a global problem, counterfeiting. Counterfeiting is a $1.7 trillion industry globally. It's bigger than agriculture as an industry group. YPB sells a covert forensic tracer and a scanner solution to brand owners, which is invisible, cannot be removed or destroyed, is extremely inexpensive, and becomes part of the product. YPB is a great solution for counterfeit. So I'm John Houston, I'm the Executive Chairman of YPB. My business philosophy comes from my 40 odd years in business. And let me tell you about my journey. I started off studying law, then I became a bookmaker, and from that I got into different business streams. One of them was rental, so I got into a TV rental business, and I learned about the telecommunications business, which started as a rental product. I started my international business career in New Zealand in the commercial property space, where I met a guy who I have an enormous amount of respect for, and he gave me my first business philosophy that's driven me, and that is always leave something in it for the next guy. And I learnt this from a guy who was very successful and extremely well respected. I then joined Hutchison, and Hutchison was one of the best schools you could go to as a business guy. And I was with them for 10 years here in Australia and built their Australian business. I then went to Sri Lanka, so my second overseas gig was Sri Lanka in 1997, where I took my young family, and that was a completely new culture, and I learnt my second important business philosophy: never swim against the cultural tide, always try and swim with the tide. So that's the second thing that's driven me in my career. I always try and understand the cultural tide. And then I went from Sri Lanka to Thailand, and this is when Orange and Hutchison changed ownership, and France Telecom bought Orange. And I was lucky enough to be the first executive to be on the Orange side of a huge joint venture with the CP Group of Thailand. And this was a $2 billion investment, and we were one of the fastest growing mobile phone companies in the world. We launched within a few days of launch. We had 1 million subscribers. That was in 2001 we launched. So I did that for 2 years, and I'm really proud about what I did in Orange and building Orange Thailand. This is where I learned probably my third major business philosophy, is really understand your customer. We had to really understand our customer because Orange had no idea about how to do business in Asia, let alone in a place like Thailand. And we had to change a lot of our philosophies and make them work for the Thai culture. And that was a great lesson, and I've been able to take that into many other businesses. I then ran Orange Switzerland. Orange Switzerland was a $350 million a year EBITDA business, so a very big, mature business. And we did a great job there in, once again, cementing the Orange brand in that marketplace. And then the last 10 years I've done 2 business deals where I've been an exiting shareholder. One was a company called InterTouch in Singapore, VC-backed, distressed global broadband company. And my job was to sell it for anything that I could get for it, really. The investors had put a lot of money into it, and they needed to exit that investment. I got them $70 million cash from NTT Docomo within 12 months, which valued the business at 70 times EBITDA, so a pretty good result. And from that I bought a small mobile phone technology business in Sweden, and I was able to put that into a listed shell, and we IPO'd it, and the shareholders exited after about 5 years on a 25 times entry multiple. So my business philosophy is basically around those 3 key elements. Probably the most important business philosophy that I have, though, is that in a business, if you don't know where you're going, you probably won't get there. And why I say probably is that you might get there and not know you're meant to be there and go off somewhere else. It's absolutely important to know where you're meant to be and what your goals are. So in my companies, I have always created what I call a manifesto. And so what's a manifesto? A manifesto is a statement of who your stakeholders are, what you believe in, and where you're going. And in my companies, I've had 2,000 people working for me, more than 2,000 people. And everyone in my companies knows why they come to work. We provide them with tools for the manifesto. We've done little cards in the past so that people can understand why they are meant to be there and what their job is and what they're doing. So that if everybody's pulling in exactly the same direction, you've got a very powerful recipe for a business. And these business philosophies have been developed over a long period of time. I think I've learnt more in the last 10 years than I have in my whole career put together. And I'm applying these all to the YPB opportunity, which I think is the best business opportunity I've ever seen.